Hello everyone. So, week 3 of VCT Kickoff has just concluded, and there's been a lot that's happening this week. And I don't know if you guys can hear, but my voice might sound a little bit off because I'm a bit under the weather, but have to pump this out for you guys. So, I'm gonna do it a little bit differently this week. Let me know in the comments if you guys prefer this format. So, basically, we're gonna go region by region instead of kind of talking in kind of a mess of everything, which is kind of hard to follow, I think. So, let's see whether this format works a little bit better. And let's get straight into it, starting with Americas. Now, where do we start with Americas? Let's start with the teams that got eliminated. Crew Esports and Loud 07. With that, that's the end of their kickoff. They will not be playing any more games. Just quickly to touch on them, I think it's very unlucky that Crew didn't get their full roster. They had to play the entire kickoff with their sub roster, which they look kind of decent. Definitely had some moments in there. You can see they got a map of Crew, of Envy, and got a map of Furia. Furia, as we know, are currently in the top 2. Yeah, so a bit unlucky that Crew didn't make their full roster didn't make it. But as for the other side of Loud, just didn't look too good. I think still a lot of work to be done there. Need to work on Pankada's IGLing a little bit, I think, and just overall their macro ideas didn't look good on a lot of the maps. So, like to see Loud work on some of those things. And continuing on with the teams in the lower bracket, we gotta talk about EG and Leviathan. So both teams, I would say, they handled their opponents pretty well. I mean, swift 2-0 victories for both these teams. But definitely still some issues for EG as well. They didn't look like they're gonna really be able to do too much damage in the rest of this bracket, but I have been wrong before, and I would like EG to prove me wrong. I was high on this team coming in, and I would still like to see them do something. Meanwhile, Lev finally got Neon back, and Neon does look like the truth. So I think it is not wrong to have some more faith in Lev, and they have a rather interesting matchup against Sentinels, which is kinda crumbling, like a crumbling sand. So I could definitely see it going Lev's way, but I could see it going Sen's way as well. So I wouldn't be too surprised if, I would say that's maybe a 55-45 Lev for me right now. Okay, let's move on to the other two teams that are waiting for the win of Sen Lev and NBEG. That's 100 Thieves and C9 dropping down from the middle round 3 bracket after a devastating loss to NRG and G2. Now, I would say both teams, they did kind of get too old. Some close games in there and whatnot, but, it was tough opponents. Definitely. NRG, G2 are teams that are kind of look like they're setting up in the top 4 of Americas, which is kind of crazy that the top 4 in Americas, NRG, G2, MIBR, and Furia. Get more into that a little bit later, but not too worried about 100 Thieves and C9 for now. I think tough game. It's a bit hard to take down those teams. America Farmers and the reigning world champions. So not too sounding off the alarm bells now, but yeah, it seems like they can't really challenge the top teams. Speaking of, let's move on to the teams that handled them and knocked them down to the lower bracket. NRG and G2. I would say both of these teams played close matches. NRG looks slightly more convincing than G2 did, in my opinion. G2 still have a lot of struggles, I think, that we would like to see them fix up, especially in that Fury game that up here in the upper bracket. Yeah, there's definitely some rough stuff in there for G2 to fix, and I believe that they still have a very good shot to make it to Santiago. I think whoever wins middle round 4 basically qualifies. Maybe as a third seed, or they can beat the loser of that final. Definitely, both these teams still have a good chance to qualify, so no alarm bells just yet. Moving on to the top 2 of Americas, it's MIBR Furia. I would say both these teams played very, very well to take down again what is the other top 4 teams in Americas. Again, reigning world champions and America Farmers. But for me, I still favor MIBR in this upper final. Fury are very impressive the way they played, and they continue to surprise me every time. And to keep the curse off them, I'm not gonna pred them, even though if you see me in Twitch chat sometimes, you can see me calling myself the leader of the Penta Pack. And I would like to keep it that way, but I wouldn't pred them for the matches. But I would definitely be rooting for them all the way to Santiago. And I do have a bet I made with Sideshow a little bit earlier before the season started that if either DFM or Furia makes it to an international, I would win the bet. You can check out Sideshow stream when he does stream eventually, and if one of these two teams makes it, to see what I gain and what he loses. But yeah, I think that about covers all the teams that played this week in America. It's like a brief summary of everything, as well as to just catch you up to speed. Match of the week this week would have been Furia G2 for me. Pledge had guaranteed G2 in this game. They do not know ball, obviously. I don't really either, but we'll catch more about my lack of knowledge in the pick'ems. I think this game is the match of the week because just Furia played so well, and I want everyone to keep an eye on this team. It's a very exciting team to watch. They're so fun, and I'm proud to be on the Penta Pack currently. So looking forward to next week though. I would say the next week's match of the week, or like game to watch, would be NRG G2. It's a clash of two titans. What I had as the upper final actually, but it's happening in middle round 4. One of these teams will be knocked down to the lower bracket, lower round 4 to be specific. That's pretty crazy. And before we wrap up the America segment, let's quickly take a look at our pick'ems. I mean, it's because I got so much from the upper bracket, it just all cascades to mistakes here. The only thing that I would say I did well in getting right is Loud going out in 0 and 3 fashion. But again, I had faith in Furia but not in Kickoff, but they have proved me so wrong, and I've never been more happy to be wrong so far. And kinda had left going on a low bracket run here. They can still make it here and make my bracket correct, but it's a bit tough to fix this now. I think my pickups are all in ruins. You can see I'm all the way down here, 35 points. But just shoot myself a little bit of bill. I did do this by the way back in December, so don't crucify me in the comments. Moving on to EMEA now. Let's again start with the teams that have went down to the lower bracket. Now, we haven't had any teams eliminated yet in EMEA because America started a week earlier and blah 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 whatnot. So we have the teams in lower round 1, which is KC, Foot, Pacific, and ULF. Now, starting with KC, I don't really have much to say about them. Just watch TMV's video on them, the worst half of Valorant he's seen, I think that's the title. Just watch that video. That's all I'm gonna say about KC. I do not want to give them any more time. So let's move on to Foot and Pacific, who I believe that actually played pretty well. Foot had a tough opponent in a reinvigorated Fnatic, and Pacific playing Giants. Giants has always been a pretty good team in EMEA. Obviously losing out to Mates, but as we have seen now, Mates is so good. So not too surprised about those results. They got to take a map off Fnatic and Giant X respectively, so not too worried about those teams so far. I think they are a bit mid of the pack. Pacific, I rated very lowly coming in, so they have definitely exceeded my expectations so far. Now, ULF, the other team in the lower bracket, unfortunately, did not manage to field their full roster, which is something I didn't know when I did my pick'ems, as we'll get to see a little bit later. So still not looking too good, I think, ULF. But again, with what I said about left last week, I would not judge the team until they have their full roster. So I'm willing to shoot them a law bill. Losing 2 very good players as well. Not saying their subs isn't good, but they are 5 like friends, right? That ascended together, so they'll definitely get a lot better in my opinion once they get their full roster. And let's move on to the teams waiting in lower round 2. It's Team Heretics and Team Liquid. Let's start with Liquid. Liquid's still shaky. I think Wayne still needs more time to gel with the team. And again, they play against a Fnatic, which is kind of reignited, reinvigorated. So, uh, yeah, it was a tough match, but still like to see more from Liquid. Whereas Heretics, they're still in kind of a slump. And Benji kinda didn't show up in this game against Giant X. Yeah, Benji having a rough one. He kind of popped off against Oath, but if you watch the latest Vault Fathers episode, you can see Sideshow kind of call him a shit team farmer, but we haven't seen a good Benji performance when his team needs it in a while, so definitely would like to see more from him. And Heretics in general look very, very lost currently. Okay, moving on to the teams that knocked Heretics and Liquid down to the lower bracket, we have Fnatic and Giants. I would say both teams played slightly weaker opposition than their current skill level, but both teams, have a shot to qualify for Master Santiago. Definitely, I think you can say that they're kind of back on track in a sense. Obviously, one of these teams will miss out. Most likely, actually, they could both make it, but I think one of these teams will miss out. But they'll definitely be within like that top 4, top 5 range, in my opinion. Not too concerned about that. Moving on to Fnatic and Giants' next opponent, which is Na'Vi and Vitality. I would say they play against very strong teams, as we can see from the upper bracket. Lost to General Mates and BBL respectively. Vitality, let me start with Vitality. They still have hope to qualify for Santiago, which is definitely very good, considering they're still playing with sub. Like I said, with Olf and other teams who are playing sub rosters, I'm willing to shoot you some bill. They are playing with Unfake currently, and they have some weird stuff switching the roles around. EMPs on Yoru, so I think that applies a lot more to Vitality than some other teams. So I'm willing to shoot them some bill, and they're still looking pretty good. Still definitely have a shot to make it to Santiago. Well, Navi, they just looked kind a bit outclassed by mates. Rooksik didn't really show up either, which is I think one of Navi's biggest win con as well, on top of Hero just frying. Yeah, I think not much to say about that other than mates were just the better team. But Navi definitely still have a chance to make it to Masters, which I have them going, I think, in the middle bracket as well in the pickups. We'll review that slightly later. Now, let's talk about the top 2 in EMEA, which is Genomate's BBL. I feel like this is a very exciting region currently to watch. Very, very good showing from both of these teams. And, they'll at least be sending one new team to Santiago, right? For EMEA. General Mates and BBL both haven't made I mean, BBL, the org has made an international, I think, but I mean, they are Ascension team, so it doesn't really count. It's gonna be a new team. General Mates obviously didn't qualify to anything last year, so it'll be new for them as well. So very exciting to see how these teams will do in Santiago, but we're gonna have to wait a while for that match. But moving on to this week matches being played, the match of the week this week, I'm gonna give it to Navi General Mates. I think it's a very good showcase of how mates are playing right now, and they are definitely a very scary team. But I think the upper final is a 50-50 between mates and BBL. So feel like if you haven't watched any games this week, just go back and watch Navi General Mates to catch you up to speed on what General Mates are doing. And BBL, you can watch the BBL Vitality game as well, but I just preferred the Navi General Mates if I had to pick only one. So looking forward to next week, we have Navi Fnatic. Like, I'm pretty high on Navi still, even though they lost pretty decisively against General Mates. But I think Fnatic, with them coming back into form as well, this could be a very, very good game. I think Angel always has boosters kind of calling style figured out, so very excited to see how these teams match up, and it should be quite exciting to watch. Slow, but I think it'll be a pretty good game. Now let's, before we wrap up EMEA, let's have a look at our pick'ems. I had Navi going very far here. I mean, I would have gotten this wrong anyways, but Yeah, this would be wrong as well. The only thing I kind of got right here was Heretics coming down here and beating Oath. Uh, it's not looking great. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Again, in early December, like mid-December. Cut me some slack. All right, you can see 20 December. Was this 19th? Yeah, so cut me some slack, guys. Cut me some slack. Don't flame me too hard. Flame me a bit. Okay, moving on to Pacific. Let's start with the teams in the lower round one. Again, like EMEA, no teams has been eliminated yet, unlike Americas and China actually. But let's talk about these teams: Team Secret, Zeta Division, Vero, and Gen G. I feel like they kinda split themselves up into the two different tiers I want to talk about. Secret and Zeta definitely look like the weakest team in Pacific. Um, by quite a bit, I think. Very difficult to shoot them any kind of bail. They just didn't look good. Well, on the other side of the bracket, Vero and Gen G are playing off against each other. I mean, these teams I was kinda high on to be in the middle of the pack, but they have definitely underperformed my expectations, even though they weren't very high. One of these teams will go out. And one of Secret and Zeta will move on. Unfortunately, one of Secret and Zeta has to win a game where the bracket just worked out that way. But I could definitely see both of those teams, Secret and Zeta, going 0-3 if they didn't play against each other in lower round one. Very, very disappointed by those teams, even though I was already not having a lot of expectations for them. Alright, moving on to the lower round 2, we have a surprise appearance from DRX and Global Esports. Both teams actually here have definitely showed promise and potential that they can play very well, especially GE, right? When they played against PaperX that day, last week I was saying they could challenge top 4, when their individuals are flying. The individuals fried against DFM, like Patman broke the ACS record, I'm pretty sure on map 1, but they couldn't get it over the line. They just let it slip map 2 and 3, and whereas DRX, they just kind of look like a bit lifeless against T1. Scraping out a close win against Feral in middle round 1 as well, and then just losing to T1. But we have seen some brilliance from these teams. Again, GE. I still stand by that they can challenge the top 4 if they are all like frying. And DRX, I'm a bit lower on, but Hermes looks pretty good. The team looks pretty good. Bane's IGLing has been decent so far, and that allows Marco to frag out. So I'm okay with the roster changes, but I think we just need to see more from them. And I'm more surprised that Termi didn't cook anything up for this kickoff. Moving on to the teams that DRX and GE played this week, it was DFM and T1 getting the wins, moving on to middle round 3 to play full sets at PaperX. I would say both of these teams have shown that they have weaknesses that can be exploited. But they could definitely challenge for a top 4 finish, and a few upset results go their way, and they could be on their way to Santiago. I'm not gonna be too surprised if PaperX loses T1, but I'll be more surprised if DFM loses to. DFM beats Full Sense. I feel like that would be more surprising than the PaperX T1 one. Speaking of those teams, let's have a quick recap on them. So, Full Sense play against Nongshim. They had a chance on map 1. Map 1 was a close OT 14-12 win for Nongshim. And Full Sense were in control, but they let it slip towards the end, and they just looked like they weren't in the game map 2. Maybe they were a bit boomed from losing such a close map 1 or whatnot, but it didn't look too good for them. But mechanically, they're still all beast. Primi still might be the best player in Pacific right now. We'll just have to see. But on the other side, PaperX play against RRQ. I had this as the match of the the match to watch this week. In last week's video, but holy PaperX did they disappoint. They look so rough, and I am worried. For PaperX, I am slightly worried. They just look so rough, man. Like, it's like not just the team, it's the individuals as well. It's concerning. And can they get the win over T1? They definitely can. T1 don't look too great themselves, but I feel like what was originally supposed to be like a 65 for 35 game is now 50-50 between Paperex and T1. Whereas for Full Sense, I still, like I said earlier, I favor them against DFM. Now, moving on to the teams in the upper bracket still, the top two teams of Pacific, which is Nongshim and RRQ. RRQ, right back to business. Last year, they were top of Pacific in Stage 1, lost out to Paperex in Stage 2, but yeah, they are back, and they are again in this top two position, looking to qualify as the first seed to Masters Santiago. And I'm very, very, like 90% sure that they will be going to Santiago. I just hope that they can do some damage at Masters 1, Masters Santiago, because their last year's international performances were shocking. Like, it was shockingly bad from what they did in domestically. So I'm hoping they can keep this form and do some damage at Masters Santiago. On the other side, Nongshim, they very much surprised me. I remember last week saying that Nongshim found something in the meta that fit them well, and it's like their little niche playing that Yoru Neon comp. And I still think that it's working even better and better, catching out a lot of these teams off guard. I thought that Full Sense would kind of be able to stop them, because Primi, a bit of a monster. Dampy just kind of running in alone, right? Primi would just take his head off, but that didn't happen. And Nongshim won that game very convincingly, I would say, in their map 2 performances. So I'm excited to see what this team can do. And I think it's a very high likelihood that they make it to Santiago. But in the upper final, I'm still favoring RRQ. Now, looking back at the matches played this week, I would say the match of the week would be DFM Global. It kind of had everything you wanted. Patman breaking the ACS record map 1, and Global stomping DFM, and then DFM coming in back and punching down Global to take the win. And maybe I'm biased. I just like DFM. I like Global as well, but I think these teams are pretty closely matched, so definitely a fun one to watch back. And yeah, I think Global again let the game kind of slip out of their hands there after a very dominant map 1 performances. Alright, looking forward to next week. What would be the game to watch? PRX T1 would be what I'm gonna say. I'm hesitant, but I don't think PRX would be as bad as they was against RQ. T1, maybe they can carry some sort of momentum from getting 2 wins against Korean teams. Hopefully just these teams were predicted to be top 2 of Pacific, and now they are in middle round 3. That's crazy, and just shows how much these teams have underperformed people's expectations. So I hope they get back in form and give us a banger match. Now let's look at our pick'ems before we talk about China. And it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's so bad. Oh god, it's not good. It's not good. Don't expect any pick'ems to be good. We'll review them again on the weekly basis, but once we have a look at them when the kickoff bracket's over, I'm gonna be flamed. I might flame myself. Okay. Moving on to VCT China. Starting off with the 2 teams that eliminated, because China has a weird schedule where they play a ton of games every week. Nova and FPX. For Nova, not too surprised. Yeah, they kind of lost to some pretty decent teams in All Gamers, Tyloo and Wolves. Not too much to say about them. Just not that strong of a team in China. But the one that I want to talk about is FPX. If you remember, I was very high on them. I had them going to Santiago. Some of the Plat chat members predicted them to win all of China. This is a very big disappointment. Going out with only winning 1 map, that's very rough. It's a very bad performance from them, and I'm not sure what the problem is, but they need to identify that and fix it before stage 1. For the teams that eliminated those two teams, we have Wolves and JDG. JDG underperforming my expectations. I was quite high on this team as well, and I'm pretty sure I had them going to Santiago in my pick'ems. We'll review that later, of course. And yeah, again, just disappointing performances. And for Wolves, they just don't seem to be that strong of a team. Getting a win against Nova, losing to Tech was a pretty big one. We'll talk more about Tech later. And who else they lost to Shilai. Just okay, Shilai looked pretty good. So they're just not that good of a team, and I wouldn't favor them in their next game against Trace. So #RipTMV. Now, speaking of Trace, them and Tech are playing against Wolves and JDG. So Tech, let's start off with them. They did well in the middle round one. They got a win against Wolves, and then they lost Tailu, which is a pretty decent team, and now they are here. Tech looking like the worst team in China by far last year, and coming in with almost no roster changes. I believe they made one recently. Yeah, I think I would say that they overperformed my expectations. But I think it's a very tough game against JDG. It's an uphill battle from here. And for Trace, what do I say about Trace? I think they did well. They beat JDG, lost to Wolves at the start, but I feel like I favor them in a rematch here. Trace beat JDG. They lost to Bilibili, who looked like they are back. They got their shit together. So Trace still pretty good team, I would say. It's a bit more messy in China. I feel like a lot of it is like rock paper scissors kind of. This team beats that team, but that team beats the other team. It's all a pretty big mess in China, especially for me who's not too ingrained and in the know of this region as compared to the others. Okay, moving on to the middle round two winners. We have Tailu and BLG. Tailu, again, very decent team. They're still kind of in the middle of the pack here for now. They could upset some top teams. Definitely, they have the potential to have some upset results. Like their next game is DRG. I would say they definitely have a chance to get some upset results there. And if a few upsets go their way, they could make Master Santiago, but I think it's very, very unlikely for them. Meanwhile, BLG seems to got their groove back. They could definitely do some damage in China. I would still not favor them to make it to Santiago, but they definitely could do some damage now. I think it'll give them a bit of time. Maybe if they work up their shred book again, they can definitely get back to where they were. Although there are some tough teams that they have to beat, such as DRG and EDG. Mainly EDG, who is their next opponent. Let's start off with DRG though. DRG in the upper bracket, they lost to a very scary All Gamers. I think All Gamers looking like a pretty crazy team right now. They pick up their Russian import, Fengier, I think that's how you say his name. Just playing out of his mind. Again, AG is now in the top 2 because they beat DRG. And the main critique I have with DRG is that they're playing some weird comps, playing Radar on 2 of the maps. That's definitely not helping them. Not looking great. DRG, of course, individuals are still there, but gotta fix some of that comp stuff. On the other side, EDG, they just kind of got wrecked by XLG. And I wouldn't be surprised if they have a little bit of a struggle against BLG, who kind of look like they're back. At least, like, mostly back. Let's move on to our upper finalists. We have AG and XLG. So AG, like I said earlier, Fengier, or however you say his name, he's looking like one of the best players in China right now. And on the other side, XLG looks pretty good, but this is going to be a very tough game. It's going to be a very tough game for Zhilai. Haven't really been tested all that much, I would say. Wolves not looking too good. EDG, maybe. But this will be a very big test for XLG and AG as well, actually. But AG beating DRG, I feel like gives me a lot more confidence in them to make this upper final their win and qualify to Masters Santiago. Now, the match of the week this week, I would choose All Gamers versus DRG. AG looking crazy good, of course. DRG still managing to get a map, but main thing I want you guys to go back and watch this for is to see why DRG was playing that Reyna. I don't understand it. I don't know why you would play the Reyna, but you guys watch it and let me know what you think about it. If you have already watched it, or you can come back to this video after you watch it and let me know. For next week's games, I think I will give it to EDG BLG as the match to watch. Again, EDG still pretty decent, still towards the top of China, whereas BLG, like I said earlier, they're kinda back. So should be a pretty fun game to watch. Let's have a look at pick'em, shall we? Now, my notes here for the pick'ems is that I don't know ball and was so wrong on AG, which I was. I had them going on in lower round 2, but instead they're in the upper final. I had FPX as first seed to win China. Oh god, JDG as middle seed and... Oh wait, no, DRG as the middle seed, sorry, and JDG as the third seed. Holy fuck, couldn't I be more wrong? I was so wrong on China. You guys just flame me in the comments. I deserve it for China. I was so wrong. I did not know ball. I did not know this region. I was not familiar with your game. Alright. Moving on to the last segment of this video, we're going to talk about VFL. So firstly, this is my team. Look, it's doing pretty good. If I check the standings real quick. Here we are 3,732 at 266 points. Not great, but I would say pretty decent. Main thing that's kind of letting my team down right now is something. If we quickly look at the player stats here, Dambi looking like a very good pick. Oxy as well, averaging 15 points per game. That's insane. Of course, Oxy getting some of Demon One's points when he subbed in. Patman, Kushi, pretty good picks as well. Primi, Patman obviously having that monstrous map 1 performance against a DFM, breaking the ACS record. And if we look kind of down here, there's some other players that are very good pickups. Durka, maybe not. I would say the Fura players are still very good pickups because most of them are very cheap, and they made it to the best of 5s and you get a lot of points from just playing the best of 5s even if you don't win. So it's looking good if you have Furia players, a lot of Furia players on your team. Meanwhile, I think Cess is looking like one of the best 5.5 point pickups. DFM looking pretty good as well. You can see if you compare Cess to Trent, there's a 5 cost difference, and they have the same amount of points. So yeah, I think Cess is a very good budget pickup, and in my opinion, even though Francis is not really shown up here, to scroll a little bit more down, but like Francis is only 8 cost here. He's one of the best pickups, I would say. Like, and he's in the best of 5, so he only has the potential to go up here. Where if you see the people around him and around the same cost, like Zeppa isn't in a grand final. He's not in the best of 5s. Seven's in the best of 5s, so I would say Francis, pretty good pickup. Furia players, Nongshim players in general, I would say. Yeah. With that, I think let's have a quick look at the leaderboard back just a second. You can see I'm 3,732 place, 266 points. Let's open up this talent leaderboard, shall we? Let's have a look at where the talents rank. We switch to streamers. Vansili, top. He knows ball. Elevated as well, knows ball. Chobra, very wise. If we look slightly down here, Alexis 269, Shio 273, Sideshow 269, Brand 283, Anders 285. Whoa, what's happening here? Sliggy 257, Haza 238, Achilles 234. Who's this? Thinking Man's... It's the guy who made the game. He has 233 points. This guy made the prices of everything, might I remind you. He made the prices of every player, and he's doing the worst of all the talent, and he's doing worse than me, which is the most important thing because my team's name is better than TMV. And I'm just gonna leave you a clip of TMV reacting to my team. Please enjoy.
Better than TMV. Hold on. Okay, you are being me, so fair enough. Something. I've already told. How the fuck are you beating me with something IGL? I've got Durker IGL and you've got something IGL, and somehow you're beating me. How the fuck has that happened? That kind of shows how shit the rest of my team is. Francis, Trent, again, Cess, the Cess pick coming in, hitting hard. I mean, we've both got Munchkin. We've both got Verno. You got Brock, Flickless, Zafiro, Hero, Boaster,